everybody. Good evening, all. Good evening, all our mommies and daddies. Okay, our mom is right here. And good evening, all our teens. We are going to be starting right now. We are about 16 in the house. And yes, our topic is on how teen girls can avoid rape. I would say, I want to thank the J coordinators, Mrs. Adewale and Mrs. Akonde. Thank you so much. The WMU president, we are so happy to have you put together this, this avenue to ensure, to enlighten our young girls on the importance of on the needs to learn how to avoid rape. And I want to thank everybody that have taken our time today to join this. I want to say big thanks to our big aunties in Port Harcourt right now, Dikres Akibo and Professor Uwe. Thank you so much for joining us from Port Harcourt. And then from those that will be joining too, yes, we look forward to getting them join on very soon in short course. I will be adding that after we'll be going on with our talk. Thereafter, there will be time for questions and answers. You can impute any questions you want to in the chat section. Mrs. Adewale and Mrs. Akonde would note your questions at the right time so that we treat every question. Yes. So right now, rape, we all know what rape is. As young girls, I know our parents must have been telling us, we've heard so many informations or so many news in the media on how young girls were raped, even in churches. Even in churches, when they went to read, some people in their families, they've been victim of this. And people have been saying a lot, but I would say prevalence still occurs. Like we have high prevalences, even with all the information that is out there on rape. Rape is a very delicate and sensitive issue. And we know that it can damage the victim. And that is why as a church, as families, GA, Girls Auxillary, they are girls between the ages of 10 years and 16 years. And most times, this is the age where they could be vulnerable. They are the most vulnerable sets of persons that are affected by rape, sometimes from families, sometimes from friends, even within close relations, you know. So I want to start by just giving a brief definition on what rape is. Rape is a sexual assault, usually involving sexual intercourse or any form of sexual penetration carried out without the person's consent. So when you are forced and you are threatened that, you know, if you tell your mom, if you tell your dad, or if you tell anybody, we will kill you. When there are some cases like that, when
your voice is glitching on nice.
When the perpetrators threaten their victims, please unmute yourself. I've muted everybody. Just keep your notes. Just jot down whatever you want to ask. After this, we will take everybody questions, you know. And there are some people that may be sick, like when you are not able to resist whatsoever it is that is being meted on you. There are some people, when they were even sleeping in their homes, I mean, in a state of unconsciousness, they are raped. Some other people, when they are sick, when they are incapacitated, they'll be taken advantage on. Now, the term rape sometimes can be used interchangeably with sexual assault. So when people are talking about sexual assault, it's also meaning rape. There's a society called Rape, Abuse, Incest. Incest is when people from the same family, so a father or a senior brother or a cousin or an uncle is sexually assaulting a young child within the family. That is incest. So there's a national body. They are called rape, abuse, insects, network, national network. They are an anti-sexual violence organization. They've put together some tips that can help young ladies to know how to prevent themselves from being raped, and just to give them more information on how they can stay safe. But before we even go on that, before we mention these tips, I would just want to talk about the kinds of rape. We have power rape. That's when, okay, your mom or dad sends you somewhere and a group of boys, sometimes you even know them, just overpower you and take advantage and rape you. There's another kind of rape called the anger rape. Somebody, for whatsoever reason, they just want to get out on you, and then they just make sure that they corner you where you have nobody to intervene, and then you are raped. There are some very sadistic, there are some sadistic people. I mean, people that are mentally sick, that they just want to watch you, they want to torment you. So in some cases, I'm sure we've seen some movies where you have some serial rapists. They will capture a young girl, and even in Nigeria, we have those cases. So those cases we watch sometimes on CNN or in the television. It's not just in these European countries or in the US. Even here in Nigeria, we have some very sick people. So they get young girls that are supposed to be going on errands, or even in their neighborhoods when they are riding their bicycles, and they rape them. They lock them in a house, wherever it is, and they just perpetrate their evil. There's also the vaginal rape. There's when the rape is from the vagina, and there's the anal rape. Also, male and female could be victim of the anal rape, when older men or sometimes teenage boys too could rape young girls from the anus. And there's the oral rape, when you see some older men are forcing young girls to play with their mouth, play with their penis, ask them to do some, even sometimes ask them to put their penis in their mouth. That is oral rape. So we have all this kind of rape. Most of them happens here in Nigeria. Now, the cause of rape, there are instances when you see young boys in their teens. So when I'm talking about teenagers, 13, 14, 15, 16, they gang rape young girls, sometimes from the same school. Most of the time, it is because of exposure to pornographic movies. And unfortunately now, we have these pornographic movies in phones. In those days, you would have to get a CD and play it in your house. Maybe you have a DVD player or CD player, whatever it is. And then you will wait for when your mom or your dad or the elders are not at home for you to actually watch all those pornographic movies. But these days, almost everybody have their cell phone, their mobile phone. And even when you are going online to Google, just to browse on your normal academic assignment. So for instance, you are given some work to make some research on your schoolwork. As you are going over to check on Google, some of all these pornographic movies or pictures just pops up. Whether you like it or not, it comes onto the screen. So for young boys that are I would say inquisitive, I want to know what exactly is contained in all these movies, they go and watch it, and most times they want to practice it on other, unfortunately, innocent victims. So many research have shown now that one of the highest cause of rape is exposure to pornographic movies, pornographic materials, in both males and in females. Then we have poverty. There was an instance when a young girl went to auction some items for a mom, and unfortunately, in an area where they were repairing vehicles, like in a mechanic workshop area, and one of the men asked this girl to bring a train of granules for purchase. In fact, he told the girl, "Don't worry, we will buy everything." And the girl was happy. She wanted to sell off all her all her product to go home on time. And this man raped this girl, lured the girl to his house and raped this girl. There are many instances of this because of poverty. I mean, a young girl of 12, 13 years old should be at home, should be reading her books, not hawking things, in areas that could be very, very dangerous for them. So sometimes poverty also exposes young girls to rape, and also lack of education. When these girls are not aware of the dangers lurking in these areas, they could be victim of rape. Then poor justice system. There are many times where people are raped and they go unpunished. So even the rapists know that mostly the ones that have money. There are some men that are really sick. Even after they've been reprimanded, they go back to commit this crime because sometimes they just give them 2 years in prison, or they just ask them to pay some amount of money and they go scot-free. Some other times, the police just collect some money for them without investigation whatsoever. Mostly when these girls are from poor families, they just pay the parents of the girls some amount of money, or pay the police whatsoever it is they want, and then the case dies down just like that. So sometimes when these men know that they have the financial wherewithal to escape justice, they go on and on perpetrating these evils. Then also masculine power. Oh, because the man thinks I'm big, or I have the strength, they just go and grab a girl or just lure this girl and rape them. Many a times too, boys under influence of drug and alcohol, at that point they don't think clearly. They may perpetrate this evil, they may rape because of the influence, the high influence on drug. Some other times too, we have instances of, some men will say, oh, the girls were dressing nude, that is why we were tempted. See, in as much as we advise young girls, do not dress in a way where you would be a victim of rape, but that does not give excuse to any young man to rape a girl or to rape anybody whatsoever. As young Christian girls, we should dress appropriately, but the boys or the men have no justification to their acts, because, oh, this girl is dressing like this, or this girl is not wearing something that is long enough. That is why I was aroused. That is a very lame excuse. Sometimes too, undue closeness, when males, friends, family friends come over to the house, they start as being very friendly, the family gets so used to them, and before you know it, they can look for a way to rape a girl. Sometimes they come with ulterior motives. So these are some aspects that some causes rather of rape in society. Now I want to be sharing some tips that would make these young girls prevent or protect themselves from this terrible evil, because rape destroys. It destroys physically, emotionally. We do not even want to see. They say prevention is better than cure, and that is just the truth. Yes, if you have been a victim, by the grace of God, God can lead you out and you will come out victoriously. Yeah, but please, we do not want any of our young girls to even be a victim. And that is why we are sharing these tips so that we are all aware. And I just want to add, very soon, this particular link will go off. We are running out of time. So you can join again using the same link, the same ID, number, and password. Just rejoin again, and then we'll be back to this presentation, please, just for your information. Now, so the first thing I want to say is, for young girls, trust your instincts and be yourself. If you are feeling unsafe, if you are uncomfortable in any situation, go with your gut feeling. Sometimes you are in a place or in an environment when people you sense something not safe. Maybe people are passing some kind of remarks. You are not a big girl now. Okay, there was an instance when a friend of mine was telling me that when she was young, her mommy used to have a shop. So there's this very matured man that stays down their street. When the man is coming from work, the man stops over in their mommy's shop to buy some things, some little provisions. And then the mommy would tell them, please go and drop it with daddy A, and the girls would go over to the daddy's house to drop those things. The mother did not know that the man was a pedophile. But the girl was telling me that she noticed that when they go over to the house, the man will be making some comment. You are not a big girl now. Oh, you are so beautiful now, making some kind of comments that was unbecoming, was very questionable. So she was telling me that anytime they go over there to drop anything that the man buy, they quickly drop it by the gate and run away, because they were not comfortable being around the man because of the comments, the slight comments the man was making. So that's something. Trust your instinct. If you feel somebody's being too friendly with you, sometimes it could be from your family, friends, whoever. Please don't stay alone with that person. Don't be afraid to talk to your parents or to an elder in your church if you are noticing any of all these things. And also, do not be in gatherings where they are watching pornographic movies, even though it's from your phone. If anybody is sending you porns, some clips, some video clips that you don't like, do not report that person immediately. If somebody also is touching you inappropriately, please report to your parents. Do not just assume that the person was just kidding, or maybe the person doesn't mean that. Sometimes they are done with ulterior motive. I remember once when I was about 15 years old, I just finished secondary school then, and then it was a Sunday like this. I was at home. We were supposed to go for house fellowship. And I was cooking, so I could not join my mom and my siblings for house fellowship. And there was this particular man that comes to visit our neighbor. He came that day to the house, and normally when he comes to see our neighbor, he comes over to our house to just exchange pleasantries. And he came that day, and I told him, my mom is not at home. And he was like, please, can you help me go and buy something? I said, no, I can't, I'm cooking. And he said, okay, no problem. Then I noticed that he was holding my hand. I was wondering, what is this man trying to do? Yes, and man was a very big man, like it was almost over 6 foot at that time. So I noticed I was uncomfortable with his behavior. I've told you, my parents are not at home. Nobody's at home, and you are, walking around, coming near me. I quickly left the house and passed through the back door, and I went to stay outside. I went to stay somewhere else where people would see me. Later on, the man knew that, okay, I was unavailable for whatsoever, and he left. Later on, I told my mom, and then my mom reported it. We heard that this man was a child molester. And so sometimes you do not even know people that come to visit your neighbors, that visit your friends. Apparently he knew that my mom had left, or my parents then had left the house, and he knew I was home alone. Because when he came, he was asking me, hey, help me buy something and bring it to my house. I said, no, I cannot do that. Okay, where's everybody? I said, nobody is around. Please, I'm busy. And he was still there. So for young children, when you notice any of this movement, please do not remain in that location. Leave immediately. Go outside. Because they could be very masculine. They could overpower you. You don't want to be among statistics. Please, it's important that you do that. And even for bigger adults, much bigger children or much bigger females, I'm talking about not just between 10 to 16 years, even married people too. When you notice people that are with questionable characters around you, please avoid those gatherings. I remember once like that when I just got married. I was in Port Harcourt. We moved to a new house, and we needed to. Okay, I was home alone with my husband. He has gone to work. We needed to put curtains in our house. So my husband asked our neighbors around, and then they gave us a carpenter that could come and nail our curtains in the house. And this carpenter came in. Of course, I will not leave my house for a stranger. So I was around the house that day, and I noticed that when this man was standing doing his drilling, he put his trouser. I was building out his penis in the house. I noticed it from where I was in the kitchen. Immediately, I left the house. I went downstairs and I called him out to leave my house. Then I asked the security. We had a security, all this, not really an armed security right now, just the normal gate man. I asked the gate man not to allow him into the house. And then I called my husband immediately. And of course, the man disappeared. So some people are mentally unstable. Do not even put yourself in a situation when you are alone, when you notice any of all these strange characters. For young girls, for even older people, for parents, if anybody is coming to work in your house, please don't allow your girls to be alone with them. There should be more than one, two, three people at home at any time when you have visitors or whoever they are, workmen coming into your house. Also, the second point I want to mention rather, is stick with your friends and watch out for each other. Now, I'm talking about young girls. These days, we have 14, 15, 16 years old girls entering into the universities. This is a very vulnerable age. Most of these teens may have grown up in secured home, secured environment with God-fearing parents, God-fearing adults that look out for them most times. And now there's a tendency to trust seemingly good-natured and kind-hearted adults. Unfortunately, everybody has your best interest at heart. Do not think everybody has your best interest at heart. When you are going out, make sure that you are there with friends. Make sure that you don't go to attend events alone. There was an instance that there was a case, an incident that occurred while I was growing up, when young girls they were writing their not common entrance now, their WAEC. So after finishing secondary school, most girls, they go over to write their WAEC, sometimes not in their school, in other locations. And then these girls, they went together. Unfortunately, in those days, there was no phone calls. Can you hear me, please?
Yeah.
All right. So in those days, there were no cell phones. It was raining, and one of the girls they met offered to take them to their house. So our house was close to the school, the venue where they're writing their WAEC exams. Apparently, the girl had ulterior motives. Our senior brother had told her to bring some of these girls, and they were planning a gang rape. So when these girls went over there, they noticed that, okay, some of the boys started behaving very funny. But because they were all together, initially, they wanted just one of the girls to come, because they said the girl was this, the girl was rude to one of the boys, and then they were inviting these girls to come over, come and stay here since it is raining. You can come here. And the girl said, no, I was not going to go alone without my friends. So about 5, 6 of them went together. Because the girl was not in isolation, because she was there with her friends, they could not do anything to her. So for young girls that are in the university right now, age 14, 15, 16, please know that you cannot trust anybody. Be sensitive to your environment. Do not attend any party whatsoever it is. You are in school, yes, there are some social events, but your primary action to be in school is reading your books, right? So don't allow anybody, not even your friends, to deceive you or lure you. Also, thankfully, the third thing, use your cell phone as a tool. These days, we have cell phones. When you are leaving your house, make sure your cell phone is charged. That is for older girls also that are going out by themselves. When I mean older girls, these days, 14, 15 years old girls, and even for younger ones. Thankfully for our younger girls, I mean, in our church, I'm very sure that our parents will not allow age 10, 11 years old girls to walk alone wherever they are going to, but just as an advice, whenever it is that you happen to be going anywhere, please have your phones with you. Let it be fully charged so that you are not, so that you are not taken advantage of. You can quickly send a message to your parents if you are in any condition that you are going to be vulnerable. And then also, wait for people to earn your trust. Don't assume that people you've just met will look out for your best interest. They are essentially strangers. Do not trust anybody. Do not trust anybody, not even the ones coming into your house, not even the uncles or aunties that you feel are friendly to your family. I just mentioned once when somebody that was kind of friendly to us came over to my house when I was quite young and was trying to be funny, was trying to take advantage. So when you meet somebody, just assume, okay, I don't know this person. So do not give out any information whatsoever to these people, I had a friend once, why she was posted for her NYSC after she finished the university. And then when she went to this new state that she was posted to, she was supposed to stay in the NYSC complex, like a house where they put young people, the coppers. But she went to the bank to get some things done to open her account for the NYC. And then the bank was delaying her, like they actually delayed her. And then she met somebody in the bank that was very friendly to her then. The person just told her, so okay, at the end of the day, the bank was supposed to close and she had not finished her assignment. So the person just told her that, you can come to my house and stay. My sister is staying with me now. Since you will have to come over to the bank tomorrow to finish your work, just come over. Tomorrow you can come to the bank and finish opening your account. And because this young man had been very nice to her, she went with the young man, okay, thinking that the young man, yes, had a sister that was in the house. When she got over to the house, in fact, the young man gave her the address of the house that, her sister was there. The bank had closed at 4 o'clock and we're not going to attend to anybody, but she could go home to the house and then her sister was in the house. So she went over to the house and it was all a planned work. The young man was planning to take advantage of her, to rape her. When she got over to the house, later on, the young man she met in the bank came and she was asking, where is your sister? Oh, my sister could not come today. Oh, she went somewhere. There was one story or the other. And then he was almost getting violent with her. She looked around. Apparently, when she got to the house, she had noticed where the back door was. She had walked around the house first. So, and that is one important thing. When you go to a new environment, look around you. You are not too small to take note of your environment. Look around you. Look for escape route in case something bad is going to happen. Don't just assume, don't just stay there. Try to know where all the doors in a house is. Even if you are going to your friend's house for a birthday party, or your friend from school invites you to a party. Even in primary school, sometimes they're inviting you to a party. Please look around the house. Don't just assume that everything would go well. Always be security conscious. Always be conscious of your environment. So this young lady, had looked around and then she noticed where the back door was. So she quickly told the man, oh, I'm coming. I want to go to the toilet. And then she passed through the back door and ran out of the house. She ran, to the nearest police station. Most times, you may not even know when a situation like this may occur. So that is why you always have to be very careful, very observant, to not trust anybody, not even if it's your best friend from school or your friend from church, wherever it is. When you go anywhere, sit down and study your environment. And again, don't be afraid to hurt somebody's feeling. If you are in an unsafe situation, it is right, it is all right to make an excuse to leave. Okay, you go somewhere with your parents now, and then there's somebody that is behaving in a way that's making you feel uncomfortable. You can tell your mommy, please, I want to leave here. And then your mom, I'm sure, will take you out of that place. If you are not uncomfortable, if you are uncomfortable in anywhere you are, make up a reason to leave. Don't stay because, oh, okay, your mom, and there are some times when your mom may leave you in a house, or your mom is going to the market, or your mom is traveling, and then your parents leave you somewhere. Just stay here, I will come get you. I had a friend like that growing up. Whenever she was living, and whenever her mom was leaving the house, her mom drops her with the neighbor. Her and her younger ones with the neighbor. Unfortunately, the neighbor's children were molesting them. And she didn't know how to tell her mom. So whenever they are going there, her younger sisters will be crying, she will be sad, and the mom will be telling them, don't worry now, I will soon come back for market. You will be there for 1 or 2 hours. Just stay there. And they could not tell their parents why they were afraid to go to that house. I'm sure that you can tell your parents anything you want to tell them. Do not be afraid. Even if you think that, okay, you can't tell your parents, you can always tell your GA counselors. You can tell somebody, your Sunday school teacher, or even your class teacher in school. Just tell anybody that you feel you are safe with. It is so, so important. Do not be afraid to share your experiences with someone. Also, if you put off your devices. If you see something, or you feel uneasy about something, please say something. Intervene in any situation that is questionable.
But ma,
yes,
there are some parents that will not listen to us.
There are parents that will not listen to you. Okay, if you have parents that will not listen to you, what you can do is that you can tell somebody else. You can tell somebody in your church. You can tell maybe somebody. You may have an auntie. You may have a friend's mommy that will listen to you, right?
Okay.
Yes. So if your parents will not listen to you, please tell somebody that you feel you can talk to. There was somebody I know that was telling me that her daughter's friend in school was always coming to school feeling sad. And then, sometimes, just like you said, a child may not be able to talk to the mommy or daddy or people in the house, but they can talk to people outside, to their friends in school. So she told her friend, so her friend was asking her, why are you always sad? Why do you not want to write? Why don't you want to do your homework? And then she confided in her friend that at home, unfortunately, her mommy was married to another man. And then the man was abusing her sexually. But she was afraid to tell her mommy. She was afraid to tell anybody, but she could tell her friend. So her friend told her mom, and I'm sure the mom reported the case to the school authority or something. So sometimes you may not be able to tell your parents some of all these actions, but I'm sure that you can tell somebody, your church, your adults in school. You may want to even be anonymous. You may want to just mention it to somebody that you can trust, that can take you out of that situation at that time. So another thing again is for young girls, please don't be around people that have questionable characters. And when I mean questionable characters, even from primary school, I remember then when we were in primary school, we had some really bad girls. When I mean bad girls, sometimes some of all these girls have been abused while they were still small. And so they don't really see anything wrong with that. So having a boyfriend, having boyfriends, and when I mean having boyfriends for primary school, some of them have started having sex. And then sometimes they want their friends also to be like them. And that is why sometimes they will arrange some kind of rape so that, okay, I have boyfriends or I started having sex. They want people that are their friends to be in the same situation with them. All those are not good friends. So as much as possible, if you notice that you have friends that don't have the same values with you notice that you have friends that are okay with pornography, okay with having boyfriends, please stay away from those kind of friends. Then for our girls, our senior teens, 14, 15, 16 years old, now I'm actually emphasizing those ages because like I said, most of our young girls these days, they enter the university at that age. And at that age, they think that they are now adults. Oh, I'm not in the university. Even if they are 14 years old or 15 years old, they still think that, oh, they are adults too. And sometimes when they come back home, they want to hang out with their friends. Sometimes they want to go to maybe the mall, shop, right? They want to go see movies. They want to go to their friend houses. You don't know what happens in your friend houses. Please don't go anywhere. I always tell parents, even if your daughter want to go somewhere, make sure your daughter's sibling, elder or younger one, go with them. Do not allow your children go out alone. And then for girls, do not accept drinks from people that you don't know. You are in a party. Okay, there was a situation when a young girl, they all finished from a school together, and then she was turning 16. And then they went to her house. In fact, she was even telling the mom, oh, I want to do sleepover. I want sleepover. Like I tell my children, there's nothing like sleeping over. Go to where you are going to and come back. You are not sleeping over anywhere. These girls went for the birthday party, and then some of them slept over, and then some of them were raped by the brother and the brother friends of their of the celebrants. Apparently, their parents were not even at home. Their parents were not in the country. So the senior siblings had organized party for their sister that was turning 16, and then she invited her friends down there. So before you go to anybody's house, before you get familiar with anybody, your parents must know the kind of person, the kind of family that those people are. Then also, importantly, you have to watch out for your siblings, watch out for your friends, watch out for your neighbors. Like I said, if your friend is acting out of character, if she's feeling sad or you notice that she's not herself, you can ask her some questions. See, the book of Proverbs 31 says, speak up for those who cannot speak up for themselves. Please speak out for those that you feel are being abused sexually. You can tell your own parents, or you can tell your GA coordinators or your church leaders, your church mommies or daddies. They will do something about it.
Yeah?
Also be aware of your surroundings.
You don't know before. You don't know control lawyer used to work.
Please mute your devices, please. Yeah, Florence, please mute your device. Be aware of your surroundings. Whether you are walking home from school, or you are in church, or you are going on an errand, be mindful of potential risk. So get to know your surroundings. If it is a place that is dark, I'm sure our parents will not send us out when it is dark. But even if you have to go somewhere, even if it's your estate, please look around. If you see anything that is not anything that you're uncomfortable about, come back home and tell your parents. Like I said, it is very important, again, do not surround yourself with people that will corrupt your thinking and will trivialize having boyfriends and having sex. Some people will tell you, even in primary school or in secondary school, most times in secondary school, some of your classmates will say, you can have boyfriends without having sex. It's one of those things. There's nothing like that. Sadly, our television these days, social media, they promote these ideas. In fact, some schools now, some high schools, they have the high school proms when you have to attend with the opposite sex. And then if you don't have a date, or you are tagged as unpopular, you are not good enough, and there's peer pressure just to belong, some girls fall into trouble. Please, please, like I say, be around people that share your values. Do not be around those that will lead you, or that will sometimes, if you even take advantage of you and make you get hurt. Like I said initially, follow your gut feeling. You need the Spirit of God to guide you. That is the Spirit of God that can activate your gut feeling and prevent you from taking steps that will lead to rape. In fact, in cases where even the gut feeling is neglected, God can physically prevent you from taking that move, or from engaging in activities that will make you, be at that place. Like, I know there was a time, a friend was telling me, a friend was having, when she was quite young, a friend was having a party, and they've all planned to go. Then they were about 14, 15, 16 years then. And she wanted to go by all means. And mom had told her, you can't go there. She was like, oh, my friend, she used to come to my house. She used to do this. She used to do that. In fact, she was telling me then, because her parents at that time would not allow them to wear trousers. So she had taken her trousers, she has given it to one of her friends, so that when she goes over to that house, she can change to her trousers and join her friends in court. But that day, when she was supposed to go, because her parents had agreed reluctantly, because she has been disturbing them, she wants to go. That day, she had menstrual pains, bad menstrual cramps, and she could not attend that party. She was not happy at that time, but of course, she could not go anywhere. And they heard that almost all the girls that went to that party were raped. They actually gave them, they said they put some drugs in their drink. It was a demonic plan by some of the friends. Like I said, some of our brother's friends, they wanted to just take advantage of those girls. And then she was saying that, thank God, though, that she started her messes that day. If not, she would have been part of those girls that were raped. So, for teen girls that have suffered abuse or are suffering abuse, do not remain in this situation. Do not be afraid to talk about it. It's the abuser, it's the perpetrator that should be afraid, not you, because it is a criminal offense. So don't be afraid of reporting. Sometimes there are threats of, if you tell so and so, if you tell your parents, I will kill you. It's a lie. They are afraid because they are the ones that should be killed, not you. So speak up today. You can remain anonymous if you want to. You can write it out. Tell your GA counselors. You can tell adults that you are comfortable with, but do not keep quiet. Do not be afraid of what you think people will say about you, because it is not your fault. It is not your fault. Sometimes, yes, you can do everything that is your power to be done, but you are still a victim, or you still fall victim of that. I can see 2 participants raising their hands now. Let me check. Okay. 2 participants raising their hands. You can ask your questions if you have any question here right now. We are rounding up. We are rounding up this discussion, and then there will be time for answers for questions and answers. So just a recap of what I said. First, trust your gut feelings. Trust your instinct. Secondly, watch out for each other, mostly while you are in school. Don't be, if you are not comfortable being somewhere, let your parents know. Do not be afraid to say, oh, you don't want to go to so and so place. And then if you have friends, you have siblings that are being abused, try to tell your school authorities, try to tell your parents, try to tell your leaders in your church, your GA coordinators, anybody that you are close to about it. Speak out for those that are being abused, and then also, with God in you, with God by your side, God is going to protect you, but you still have to voice out if you are uncomfortable about your situation. Another thing again I want to add, it's about insects. Right now, there are many people that have been, in fact, the unfortunate thing now is that during this lockdown, people that are being abused from their homes, for their families, there's opportunity for this to really skyrocket. Because just imagine if the abuser is a member of your family, and then you are all locked at home, and then there's nobody that you can talk to, because there are instances where aunties, where uncles, where cousins staying in the house are molesting young children. Please, today, voice out. Tell your parents about it. Nobody's going to blame you for this. Nobody will blame you for any, it is not your fault. So talk to somebody about this. Talk to somebody about this today.